Hello, Internet weirdos! Welcome to the War Zone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. Hey, I forgot to say hello to the Scruff-Tord, so you're welcome as well. Let's take a look what we have in store this time around. And we're gonna take a look at the front line, various locations, and then we're gonna spend about the later half of the video on Pokrovsk. To see how things are progressing in Pokrovsk and what we might expect. So let's jump on over to the maps. Andrew Perpetuous map. Here we have Kursk. Here we have Belgorod. We can see Russia has moved out of Basivka. They are at Lochnia, according to this. Russian soldiers surrendering as POWs. Ukrainian tank firing at a Russian occupied house. Take a look. There's the tank, and here's the building. It's point blank. Jesus Christ. But that is apparently happening in Lochnia. Russia's trying to push out of Basivka. Russia's bombing Oleshnya here, one of the last remaining strongholds, or the last remaining stronghold in Kursk for the Ukrainians, with Russia pushing into Goeva here. Wasn't there a flag? Yeah, the flag here the other day. And they are now also pushing out into this part of the village. So they're contesting the entire village now. This is a big hill. I can show you. Whoop. Here you go. You can see that this is the big hill. River and the valley to the south. The main road, or a road, cuts in here with the village in a valley. Above the hill here, and then the main road follows a valley up this way, and wooded areas surrounding it as well. So a pretty good spot for Ukraine to defend, combination of the town with the hill with the woods. And so even if Russia is in the town, they still have this big defensive obstacle, being a menace to their efforts. Did I say this was on a hill? This is on, or did I say this is a valley? Rather, this is on top of the hill. The road goes up the hill and follows the ridge line. Sorry about that. So yeah, Ukraine still has some good options in defending this area. In other words. Let's see what else. Yeah, Russia has pushed into Popovka. Let's go back a bit. Here you go. It's blue. Then Ukrainian drone strikes within Popovka. Clearly, town is contested. The Russians are here. Just like with Kursk, in general, the entire operation, it is inevitable. Eventually, Russia will throw Ukraine out of Kursk. Eventually, they will throw Ukraine out of Belgorod. The question is, will they follow into Sumy Oblast? Or will they just try and hold the border? I know they're pushing down here, but this is part of dislodging the Ukrainians from Kursk. This move towards Lochnia in Kolisnykivka. Question is, what happens when they have secured all of Russian territory here? We'll see what happens. If you're wondering why Ukraine is holding on to territory here, why does it matter? Well, it's the same reason Russia is holding on territory down here, isn't it? We go to the Ukraine control map. I mean, you can see here all the Russian units that have been spotted in some, or just parts of these formations have at least been deployed to the Kursk area, right? And same thing down here. Russia has pushed in not far at all, but you can see all the Ukrainian units that have been geolocated via open source intelligence. Just looking at Facebook pages or Twitter accounts or YouTube videos or what have you. Where soldiers or reporters have videoed movements, and you can then figure out who's where and why they're there and so on. And so Russia has pushed in not far at all, but that ties up a lot of Ukrainian forces. Same thing up here. Ukraine pushes into Kursk, pushes into Belgorod, the whole territory, and Russia is still forced to commit vast amounts of resources to deal with Ukrainians still within Russia itself. Right? Russia's trying to reach what's it called, Counterattack. They were pushed back. They were in town, came down this way, came in this way. Ukraine has since then pushed them back. Russia is now bombing the place, so probably going to be a second push towards that town. Up here, Russia has made some pushes into these woods, trying to at least. It's contested, and they are confirmed to be in Kolisnykivka. So there's a push up here as well across the Oskil River. This is interesting. Happened the other day, or was corrected the other day. Here we can see this here is a big hill, or a hill, with a big forest on it, large forest, and it's surrounded by creeks. So this is essentially a fortress, a fortification, if you will. And Russia has now moved up right to the edge, pushed into Kolisnykivka. They're in the town, in the village, right on the edge along the creeks here of this big hill. Also, Ukraine has secured a windbreak or two up here. But, and then beyond, you can see wide open spaces. See if Russia can move up here this way to Logistical in order to deal with this big hill. I'll see if I can find it on the 3D map here. I could have paused the video there and done this and then just cut into this, but you're gonna have to tag along. Here we go. This says that the hill is under Russian control. Interesting, but here we go. This is 3D map. Take a look. High ground, Oskil River. But as you can see, when you zoom in here, you can see here the creeks surrounding the hill, the forests, and so it's a bit unclear here who has it, if it's Russia or Ukraine. The mappers are not in agreement, but either way, both maps show the same thing. Here we have Ukraine right on the edge of this hill that is easily defended thanks to the creeks and the town surrounding it. This is a fortification of sorts, and on Andrew's map, the Russians are here in Kolisnykivka, also on the edge of this natural feature in the terrain that is a important defendable obstacle. This high ground surrounded by creeks, low ground, and a village. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. Maybe in a day or two, Andrew will update to show that the hill itself has fallen under Russian control. Maybe a thing. We'll just have to wait and see. I wonder what Deep State says about this area. Deep State has the woods as under Ukrainian control, with Russia right outside of it, just like Andrew. Interesting. I'm guessing if we take a look at some pro-Russian sources, the entire area here is under Russian control. But safe to say, it's a big question mark who controls this hill. Anyway, moving down, Russia is trying to move along the Oskil River south into Buzlavka. Ukrainians outside of Nadia are getting bombed to hell and back. Here, Ukraine pushed in, 100 meters? Let's see here. 100 meters, 850 meters at least. But by comparison, if we move ahead a couple of days here, boom, you see here that we have sorry, lost my train of thought. Russia pushing up into this town here and gaining ground towards the Oskil River in this area here, having crossed the river outside of Terni. yeah, Russia is gaining ground within Toretsk, going back a couple of days here. Take a look at this area and up here. Moving ahead, boom. And a day later, boom. And now we're catching up to the 8th. So, yeah. Russia is slowly pushing Ukraine out of Toretsk once more. And then we have Pokrovsk. Around Velika Novoselka, Russia is slowly pushing northward, trying to push out from Andriivka. Slow progress. Same thing up here, slow progress. But this is what I've been talking about for a couple of months now. Ukraine trying to push in from Solona towards a dam, coming through Shevchenko towards a dam. The dam is located right here. This is where Russia can move in logistics to support the Vovkova area. And in the last 24-48 hours, Russia has pushed back. Which I said they would throw in assets into Shevchenko and Solona to prevent the Ukrainians from coming in closer to this vital dam. And if we take a look, Solona was yellow, contested recently. Now parts of it is red, with Russian infantry assault in the western parts of town, Ukrainian drone strikes and artillery strikes into this windbreak. Clearly, Russia has launched a counterattack within Solona in order to free up this bridge so they can use it for logistics again, and also to secure the dam. And they have pushed into Shevchenko after the entire town was contested, trying to push the Ukrainians back to secure the dam and the supply route leading up this way to Peshane. At the same time, we can see Ukraine pushing into positions here around Kotlina. The Russians are still holding this mine or factory, but Ukraine is within they are more or less in control of all of Kotlina. And if we move over to Deep State, we can see here how how Russia has been forced back around Udachne as well. So Ukraine is applying pressure here in the Vovkova area here. But Russia is, of course, fighting back to make sure that they have open supply lines into this part of the battlefield. But this push down here is interesting. Russia has almost achieved one of their goals before launching an assault onto Pokrovsk, and that is securing logistical routes and securing territory ground where they can place artillery. And that is why we're seeing the push here. If you go back to all my Pokrovsk videos, time to draw, I've been talking about Russia wanting to push out to the Solona River here. Like so. And that they would do this eventually. This would happen. I was talking about this when they were back here at Kurakove and Vishneva, or even back here even at Ukrainsk. I said that this was inevitable. Russia would reach this river. Because they need all of this territory here to place artillery pieces all over the place so that they can shell Pokrovsk with as much artillery as possible, as well as the surrounding area, and striking the logistical routes leading into Pokrovsk and Belgorod. They also need to do this because from Andriivka, located here, there's a road leading straight north to Shevchenko. And of course, from Andriivka you have this main highway leading into Donetsk. Here you have another highway main highway leading up to, I've forgotten the name of the town, located a big town right here somewhere. I think it was here. And then they have here from Avdiivka to Ochertine, a country road leading all the way to Rodivka. So these main supply lines is what Russia wants to support the push into Myrnorod and Pokrovsk. They also want to have territorial control north this way. They're failing to cross this highway here. Ukraine is holding the line right here. But for the same reason, Russia wants to push up north here to be able to shell Myrnorod as much as possible and the logistical routes leading into Myrnorod and Pokrovsk before they can attack the cities. And that is why we're seeing the push here. This push is inevitable. It will happen. I've said this for... how long is it? I don't know. More than 6 months, definitely. And this push... I always said also that the push north of this river is what I was worried about the most, because if Russia gets north of that river, then they reach a supply line going into Pokrovsk like so. Then they threaten this supply line, another supply line coming down here. There is a supply line coming in this way, another one through here, and they can cut across here as well. And of course there's this supply line that is cut here. Let's see here, they cut it here, and this is of course cut here. There's another supply line coming in like so, if I'm not entirely mistaken. This of course was an old supply line for Ukraine, not usable at the moment for obvious reasons, so this one is cut as well. But I was worried when Russia was beginning to move north. I said from the start that if they move past north of the river, I would be worried, because then they would cut 1-2 supply lines and begin threatening these 2 supply lines as well. So the fact that they were beginning to push here had me worried. But then, of course, they reached Udachne and Kotline, and they could not move past this road here and the railroad coming in here. Thankfully. Because what Russia wants to do here is, of course, push north and cut this supply line. If they can push up this way and come in here, then they cut all of these supply lines for obvious reasons. And they also want to come north here, because up here is a big logistical hub. It comes out like so, and then they cut both of these access points as well. And then Ukraine only has one road leading into Pokrovsk and Myrnorod, and that would be under threat from Russian artillery and Russian drones. So that Ukraine is actually holding the line here is incredibly important. That they're holding the line here at Udachne and Kotline, incredibly important. It is slowing down the Russian build-up for the assault on Pokrovsk and Myrnorod. Russia is still struggling to push west here to secure this last supply line. Main supply line. There's lots of smaller roads all over the place, obviously, but this is where you can move large quantities of supplies to support a fight in Pokrovsk. But I just want to highlight that this push here, this advance is inevitable. Russia will reach this river, because then they can spread out artillery all over the place to shell Pokrovsk and the supply lines leading into Pokrovsk. Here they seem to be struggling quite a bit. They can't get across this highway here. Haven't made any headway whatsoever. They pushed up slightly this way, but nothing towards the river here. So we'll see what happens, but Russia is close to being ready to set things up for the assault on Pokrovsk. The question is, will they enter the town of Pokrovsk in Mirnorad before they've cut all of these supply lines? I'm curious. Really curious. What else? This is dragging out, isn't it? Fuck it. It's my video. I get to do what I want. Let's talk about Shevchenko here for a moment again. Because why not? Why is it important what's happening? Here we have a river. Here you have the Solona River. There's another creek here coming in like this. At Solona we have a bridge. Here we have a dam. At Peshane you can move around over a bridge as well. These are the 3 access points to the Vovkove area here. Ukraine pushed into Solona, disrupted logistics across that bridge. They have pushed into Peshane, disrupted the logistics of that bridge. That means Russia has only this dam to reliably move troops and resources across the waterways to the Vovkove area. We have seen a lot of Ukrainian strikes in this area here along the various supply routes. It leads up like so to Vovkove, or you can move across open fields and follow a windbreak north to Vovkove. There's another windbreak leading up to Solona. And from here, of course, Russia, this here is Vovkove. And from here, they can then move manpower and resources out to the front line. And as you can see, with Ukraine putting pressure on the supply line, we do get this situation up here with Ukraine pushing in. It's not massive big advances, that should be pointed out, but still they are forcing the Russians back at Kotlina and Udachne, and you have the Russians trapped in that factory or mining facility or whatever it is. On top of that, you also had Ukraine pushing into Shevchenko, and that gave them the opportunity to move along windbreaks here or follow the creek down so to cut the bridge between Toretsk and there's a bridge right here. Then they could threaten that bridge that leads up to the dam. The road leads up to the dam, that is. So you can clearly see why it's important for Russia to launch assaults here and launch assaults here, like we've talked about, as well as within Peshane. They need to secure the logistical routes that they need in order to keep up the fighting at Kotlina and Udachne. And lo and behold, they are fighting back at Solona and in Shevchenko. Like we've pointed out, that we need to be prepared that this counterattack is coming, and here we are. So that is the situation here at Vovkove, back and forth in these 3 vital locations. And while the Russians are spending time, assets, manpower, resources in here, Ukraine is having success ever so slightly at Udachne and Kotlina. And that's it. That's gonna have to be it. So I hope you found it interesting. I hope I'll see you in the next one. As always, go på marsch, Ukraine, and give them hell.